Dogs can be sweet, loyal, and amazing with families. But when young kids are around, some breeds may be much harder to handle than they look. Maybe they're too strong, too protective, too energetic, or simply don't enjoy being hugged, chased, and bothered all day. Here are 10 dog breeds families with young kids should think twice about. 10. Akita Inu. At number 10 is the Akita Inu, a beautiful, powerful dog known for its deep loyalty to the people it loves. But that strong personality can be a challenge in a busy home with young children. Akitas are naturally independent, protective, and often prefer having their personal space respected. A child who suddenly grabs, hugs, climbs on, or startles the dog may push those boundaries without realizing it. And because an Akita is large and incredibly strong, even a quick reaction can become serious around a small child. Early socialization, consistent training, and adult supervision are especially important with this breed. By the way, where are you watching from? Tell us your country in the comments and subscribe to Loyal Bond if you love learning more about dogs. 9. Dalmatian. At number 9 is the Dalmatian. With those famous black and white spots and endless energy, it's easy to see why kids fall in love with this breed. Dalmatians were bred to run alongside horse-drawn carriages, so they're athletic, strong, and need a lot of daily exercise. Without enough activity, all that energy can turn into jumping, rough play, and restless behavior around the house. For older children, that may simply mean having an energetic playmate. But around toddlers, an excited Dalmatian can easily knock a child over without meaning to. They also do best with consistent training and plenty of mental stimulation. 8. Australian Cattle Dog. At number 8 is the Australian Cattle Dog, a dog that seems to have an endless supply of energy. These dogs were bred to control cattle, so chasing movement is almost second nature to them. And in a house full of young kids running from room to room, that instinct can kick in fast. An Australian cattle dog may follow, block, circle, or even nip at a child's heels, not because it wants to hurt them, but because that's exactly how this breed was designed to move livestock. Add in their sharp intelligence, stubborn streak, and huge need for exercise, and you've got a dog that can quickly overwhelm an inexperienced family. They can be fantastic companions in the right home, but with toddlers and very young children, their herding behavior needs careful training and constant supervision. 7. Doberman Pinscher. At number 7 is the Doberman Pinscher, sleek, intelligent, and one of the most devoted dogs you can own. But that devotion often comes with a strong protective instinct. Dobermans are naturally alert and quick to react when something feels unusual. In a noisy home where children are constantly running, shouting, wrestling with friends, or having new people come through the door, the dog may have a hard time understanding what is play and what is a real threat. And because a Doberman is fast, powerful, and extremely attentive to its family, poor socialization can turn that protective nature into a serious problem. With proper training, they can be wonderful family dogs. 6. Siberian Husky. At number 6 is the Siberian Husky, fun, goofy, and almost always ready for action. And that's exactly where things can get tricky with young kids. Huskies were bred to run for miles, so sitting quietly around the house isn't really their thing. If they don't get enough exercise, all that pent-up energy can turn into jumping, zooming around, and rough play. To an adult, it may look harmless, but to a toddler, one excited husky charging through the room can be enough to send them straight to the floor. They can absolutely be loving family dogs, but in a home with very young children, you'd better be ready for a whole lot of energy, training, and chaos. 5. Chow Chow. At number 5 is the Chow Chow, a fluffy dog that looks like a giant teddy bear. But looks can be deceiving. Chow Chows are usually calm and deeply attached to their families, But they're also very independent and not always big fans of being hugged, grabbed, or bothered when they want space. And that can be tough for young kids who may see all that fur and immediately want to squeeze, climb on, or chase the dog around. A well-socialized Chow Chow can be a wonderful companion, but this breed tends to do best in a home where everyone understands its boundaries. 4. Central Asian Shepherd Dog. At number 4 is the Central Asian Shepherd Dog, or Alibi, and this is no ordinary family pet. For centuries, these dogs were expected to guard livestock, protect territory, and make decisions without someone constantly telling them what to do. That independent mindset is still very much there today. Around their own family, an Alibi can be calm and deeply devoted, but strangers, loud visitors, kids racing through the yard, or rough play can create situations this powerful guardian may read very differently than we do. That's why an Alibi needs experienced owners, early socialization, and clear boundaries, especially in a home with young children. 3. Chihuahua. At number 3 is the Chihuahua, and yes, one of the smallest dogs in the world can still be a tricky match for very young kids. Chihuahuas are tiny, sensitive, and much more fragile than they look. A toddler who grabs too hard, picks them up the wrong way, or accidentally falls on them can scare or even injure the dog in seconds. And when a Chihuahua feels cornered or threatened, it may defend itself with a quick snap. That doesn't make them bad dogs. In fact, many are incredibly affectionate and devoted to their people. But they usually do better with children who are old enough to understand how to handle a tiny dog gently and respect when it wants to be left alone. 2. Pekingese. At number 2 is the Pekingese, small, fluffy, and often treated like the perfect little lap dog. But this breed has a strong personality packed into a tiny body. Pekingese dogs can be affectionate with their families, but they're also independent and usually not the type to enjoy constant grabbing, hugging, or rough play. And young kids don't always know when they've crossed that line. Because they're small and physically delicate, accidental drops, falls, or overly enthusiastic play can also hurt them pretty easily. 1. Pembroke Welsh Corgi. And at number 1 is the Pembroke Welsh Corgi, probably the last dog most people expect to see at the top of this list. They're cute, cheerful, and usually great fun to have around. But underneath that adorable little body is a real herding dog. Corgis were bred to move cattle, and that instinct can still show up at home. When young kids start running, squealing, or darting around the room, a Corgi may chase after them and even nip at their heels in an attempt to herd them. They're also energetic, confident, and can be surprisingly bossy if they aren't given clear rules. With toddlers, parents need to work on training early and teach both the dog and the child how to interact safely. So, did any of these breeds surprise you? Remember, no dog breed is automatically bad with kids. Training, socialization, supervision, and the individual dog all make a huge difference. And subscribe to Loyal Bond for more dog videos like this.